They look great.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us. Let me introduce our next speakers. There's going to be three of them. Aaron and Ben Chrisman are the co-owners of Chrisman Studios, a collective of 5 destination wedding photographers based in Charleston and San Francisco. They specialize in creative documentary, wedding photography, and films. As we know, once the COVID crisis started to take hold, wedding dates began to be postponed, often at the last minute. Christmas Studios was slated to shoot one such wedding on March 21st. The family who hired their services were stuck with thousands of dollars worth of flowers that had already been shipped. On the day that would have been the rehearsal dinner, the wedding coordinator asked Aaron and Ben if they could come do a quick photo shoot of the couple with the flowers for a change the date card, a simple way to make use of the flowers so they weren't a total waste. Just a few days ago, Chrisman Studios learned of an unexpected tragedy in the couple's family that turned these photos into something much more significant. Aaron and Ben are going to talk about exactly what happened, what they learned from the experience, and the lasting impact it's had on them. Here's Chrisman Studio with their talk, Everyone Matters. The virtual stage is now yours.
Hey guys, can you guys see us? Because we're not sure.
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you, and you're sharing your screen perfectly.
Okay, awesome. So
And
this is
sorry, and you can with your screen share, just make it go full screen, and yeah.
It is. It's because you're.
Oh,
Mhm.
hit play.
Yep. It's because it's sharing the app. Let me share it.
sorry, y'all.
Hi, everybody.
Haven't used Skype in a while.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
So just one little tweak. This is not Ben. This is my brother Mauricio. Ben's gonna pop in a little bit as part of this, but I just wanted to say hi to everyone, and also I love that Sam started this day off by talking about the unusual. The new unusual things that the pandemic has presented, like a different kind of wedding that he's now shooting, and it's caused him to photograph it in a different way as well, because that is what happened to us with what we're going to talk about. So this is Mackenzie and James. They were supposed to get married on March 21st here in Charleston. The photographers were and still are Mauricio and Ryan, who's back in San Francisco today. So Mauricio flew in for this wedding, and that's why he's still here, because the wedding was postponed with just 5 days before the original date. It was kind of the beginning of this pandemic, and they were kind of holding off till the last minute to see if maybe they could still have a wedding. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, this is a good analogy of the mind shift that we're having right now in the industry. I think it's a good idea to represent the changes that we are having in our business and in a personal level. So I'm always a person that, if you know me, I love to talk about the impossible, because the possible, we know a lot about that. So I like to, always think about what else, and usually it's hard for me to just focus on what I have in front of me. So this was supposed to be something very small, very quick, and then we can.
Yeah, so let's back up just a second.
Yeah.
So the wedding was postponed just 5 days before it was supposed to happen, and we said, fine, a new date was agreed to in August for all the vendors, and everything was just that way. And then a couple days after we postponed the wedding, after they did, the coordinator called and said, hey, the problem is we have thousands of dollars worth of flowers that were delivered. They're just going to be wasted. The money's wasted, everything's wasted. Can you guys just come over to the house? We're going to just set up, the florist will come set up an arbor and some other arrangements. Just come do some photos of the flowers so we have documentation of them, and just some quick photos of the couple in front of the arbor, because we're going to use the photos for a change the date card. And so we're like, oh, that'll be fun. We were starting to get restless anyways, because things were shutting down, things were getting postponed. So Mauricio was the photographer for this. I just went along, honestly, for fun, to get some video footage for Instagram. So we come over to the house, and the mood is that crazy combination that all of us feel every day of frustration. I mean, this couple wanted to be married in 5 days. The day we were there, it was supposed to be their rehearsal dinner. So it was a mix of like sadness and frustration and just like sense of humor. Like, well, this is life. We're just kind of rolling with it. So her brother, Mackenzie's brother, he had been practicing all year to saber a bottle of champagne. And the hilarity of that, of course, is that he messed up. But he did do it again. And Mauricio got this awesome photo. I hope they use this one, but they will probably use kind of a normal one. So good.
So, my point is that you have to make everything the best. You have to adapt yourself to the situation, whatever that situation is. And so one big thing that we are thinking a lot these days is about our priorities. What is really important. So we got there. We take advantage of the time and said, let's make it worth it. I was just thinking about her. Her dad was there. Her mom, her brother, just a couple close friends. They actually wanted to invite us, remember, for like just stay after the shoot. Was like just stay, hang out with us because we want to hang out with people.
They wanted to celebrate something. Yeah. It was the rehearsal dinner night that was not going to happen, and we wanted that for them too. So I mean, they didn't want these extra photos. They didn't think they wanted these extra photos that Mauricio did, but it's like we talked about on the way over. Like, let's give them something fun to remember this day with.
We actually just walked down the street and come back, and we took the photos, and then we get back, and then once we got back, I remember, Dad was sitting there, Mom was sitting there, and then we're having these coronitas, This is the photo actually that they actually
They'll probably use it. This is all they wanted, really. Yeah. Mauricio did extra, like you said. We wanted to celebrate them that day and to give them a happy memory from this, not memories of having to cancel and postpone everything. So he did this, and he photographed all the flower details, so the florist can have that, and the family can have that, of course. And at the end, it was like, you had the idea to bring out this leather chair that you saw.
Yeah, this is in Charleston. They have all this cool furniture. So let's say, let's go outside, let's put this outside, let's have fun with it. Whatever it is you have in front of you, whatever you're going through in your life, you have to embrace it, and think about, this is important right now, whatever I have in front of me.
The goal was always, show the flowers. That's what kind of we were focusing on as well. And, we were just about to leave, and Mauricio was like, your parents are here. Why don't we just get them in some photos too? And they were kind of resistant. They were like, oh, no. Like, we weren't supposed to be a part of this.
Nobody was dressed for it, really.
No. The mom had on flip-flops. Dad had on a T-shirt. And they kept saying, like, we're going to do all of this at the wedding. Like, we'll do it all for real at the wedding. Like, you don't need to do this right now. But we're like, hey, we're here. Might as well. We have nothing better to do, Yeah.
So there was first the cancellation for the coronavirus. So something unexpected. Second, we got there, we trying to get the most out of it, right? And then third, we really connect with these people because, we try to have this connection with our friends, with our clients that become our friends, and just have this bond with people. And I felt like actually they went for vacations to Nicaragua, and from Nicaragua we started talking about that. It was really nice, and you don't expect that anything bad happened. I was just thinking about her and how she felt, by her cancellation, and they were very nice about it, though. They said, like, just reschedule everything. And then I think a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, so the shoot was now 2 months ago, and just right before we got asked to be part of this conference, the coordinator wrote, and she said, the email started off saying, it's with a heavy heart that, and my brain went to, oh, they're canceling the wedding altogether. They just don't want to do it anymore. And she said, she continues, it's with a heavy heart that I have to tell you, Mackenzie's father passed away. Mr. Kennedy passed away unexpectedly and suddenly just yesterday, the day before she wrote us. And the family was shocked. We were shocked, stunned. But the ask in this email was, do you have any extra photos that you didn't already send us? Anything extra of Mr. Kennedy that maybe you overlooked or you thought we wouldn't need? So we went back through the whole take, and honestly, we didn't. We had maybe one more version of this family photo you're looking at now because we were going with this idea of, like, we'll do it all. We're all going to do it for real at the wedding. Like, we don't need to do much right now. So part of this was the magnanimity of this was that these were the last photos that were taken of this man in any capacity. So
yeah, at the end, I remember when Erin told me about it, I was like, Jesus Christ. We first is the cancellation of the wedding, they postponed everything, and now her dad has passed away. And when I'm in the weddings, I always turn out when I see the mom, when the dad is doing a speech or the dance, it's something that it really moves me, and I try to connect and like everybody that I'm photographing. And I really like them, and I remember them, and I was feeling like we should go and just give him a hug or do something with them right now, because this is the unexpected thing, and this is a good analogy of when we are photographing, when we are approaching something, we have to give everything and trying to don't think about, oh, I want to have this cool photo or I want to do this or that, or it's not about you, in any circumstance, and appreciate everything and value everything. I think this day and age with this big crisis of the world we're living in, what we need to think about is what is really important, what we care for, and just put everything in a balance,
Yeah, and we learned a big lesson. This is something that we actually do on our portrait shoots. When we have family portrait shoots, it's not just a family photo. That was my timer for myself. We take time to photograph just the mother by herself, just the father by himself, the parents by themselves, as a couple. We didn't do it that day. And that's a big lesson we learned, because we let ourselves believe that we would be able to do this all at the wedding, that this wasn't the real shoot. That we would have time, but what we failed to realize was that this family gathering is just as important as the wedding or any other family gathering, and we're kicking ourselves now because we have something for them, but we should have done way more. We should have done the father and the daughter, the parents as a couple, and we didn't. So what Mauricio was able to do through Photoshop was create this beautiful portrait of Mr. Kennedy, and this will be the last photograph that was taken of him, and it will likely be used at his funeral.
Yeah.
But our big lesson, our big takeaway was treat every opportunity you have as hugely important as anything else. Even if neighbors come over for a dinner, it's important. Take photographs of them. Honor those relationships.
Yeah, and as a photographer, I think we have a unique privilege and responsibility to make justice to every moment and really care for it, and giving them this is a responsibility as well, And every photo, it doesn't matter how simple or complicated it is, it matters. It's very important.
Okay, so Ben's gonna pop in now.
You said it. So one of the things that I loved when Cliff talked yesterday about, when he first got into wedding photography, coming from a journalism world, that he knew how to make a bride look real. He had to learn how to make a bride look pretty. We felt the same way. And I loved how 37 Frames yesterday said that you kind of have to adapt and outlast. And that's one thing that we've really tried to do as well. And one way we do it is that we treat every couple that we photograph as we assume that we're going to be their friends for the rest of their lives. And when we assume that, our intention is always how to take care of them and how to do the best job. Because always in the back of my mind, I want to take the photo that is the defining photo of their life. And that's usually a photo of just them. So when we photograph family sessions now, which we do a lot, mostly from our past wedding clients, we always take time to see each individual relationship in each kid. Each person in that family, because like I said, you never know what's going to happen. So here are the tips that what we think about when we go into a shoot. These are our friends Susanna and Fred. We photographed their wedding in Maine in 2009. I'm sure they had no idea that we were going to still be so close to them. We're closer now than we even were way back then. We've seen them twice in the last 6 months. And generally when we'll go to a wedding, we tack on a few extra days wherever we fly to, and we photograph past clients in that city. And we usually spend one day with people. And what we started doing is, when I'll fly into a city, I'll go to a photo shop, we'll purchase a backdrop system, I'll bring a couple of ProPhoto B10s, and we'll set them up, and we'll set up in the garage, and then it's like a mini studio session in addition to the more day-in-the-life documentary work. And so when we start, we almost always start with each individual child. And I want to really penetrate who these children are so they parents see that personality. in these children. This is Elsa and Gretchen. They're adorable. One is super serious and one is super bubbly. This is Susanna. She's so smart. She used to work in the White House, and now she's, doing this great job as being a mom. And I really wanted to show that strength in her.
One thing I loved about this, Ben didn't even remember this, and I reminded him the other day. Susanna she wasn't expecting any photos like this. She thought family photos, we'll just all be together doing our thing. And Ben took the time to photograph each of them individually. When she saw this photo, she wrote us a few days after she saw it and said, I have never thought of myself as beautiful. Like, I know I'm smart. I know I'm interesting. I know, have all these great things about my life, but I've never thought of myself as beautiful. And when I saw this photo for the first time ever, I saw myself as beautiful. And
she is.
What a gift that a photographer can give a human being.
And Fred, I love Fred. And then we photograph because each parent has a different relationship with each kid. So we make sure that we show that relationship. And that takes separating them. So a lot of people think, hey, I'm going to photograph their family. They think, hey, let's just go to a park and photograph everyone together. And it's our job to kind of go beyond that expectation and break it down. And it's just like at a wedding. There's certain photos that you have to take. And then there's some photos that no one's going to expect that you take. And that's what we're going for. And so when we recreate these little studio sessions, we're really able to make the light really flattering, but we're also really able to isolate relationships so much better than if we were just running around a park. So we photograph the kids together. And of course, always photograph the couple. That's the last photo they think, but it's probably the first photo they've had since they got married. And then after that, we do some documentary work, and then we go out and we try to take the big epic portraits. These guys live in Marin County, Northern California, so we were able to drive to the Golden Gate Bridge. And of course, you try to get something that they wouldn't expect, then you get something straightforward, and then you get something kind of in between. And this is the photo that they actually purchased to make really big for above, in their entryway. So that's kind of the way we think about photographing each family, whether it's a mom and just a daughter, or it's a large family. Really try to break it down and isolate and give people their time, their due. So in your mind, kind of like we always think about high, low, close, far, we think everyone alone, every relationship, everyone together, and we do that every single time.
And I was just going to add, because we have a couple more minutes, do this also if you're shooting a boudoir session or maybe a bridal session that's on a different day from the wedding, and I'm sure you all experience this, like inevitably the mom comes along or the best friend comes along, not dressed to be photographed. They're just there to help out and watch, hold the dress and stuff. Have them get a few shots at the end. And even if they're like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not even dressed. I don't have makeup on. Say it doesn't matter. Like, this would be important to your friend, to whoever they're there to photograph. Just go that extra step and give them that gift, because they don't know and you don't know. But that might end up being a way more important photo in their lives than they realize in the moment. Yeah,
and right now with coronavirus, and we don't know when weddings are really going to kick back into gear, but every person you see is someone that you could photograph, and something that you could give them if you give them the time to really kind of, listen, talk to them, and then take that photo that they're going to look at for the rest of their lives. I think that's it. Mauricio, have anything?
Any final thoughts?
Yeah.
No, no, just be grateful, be mindful, be present, and then just you do your best every time. Just don't hold back, Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, we're good.
Yeah, we have some questions.
Awesome.
So one of the first questions is, how much time do you block off during a wedding for the family photos?
Well,
however much time they give us.
At a wedding, I mean, if I'm asked for that, I tell them we just need really 15 minutes. 20 is nice. I think now we go a little bit longer. We're putting more into it. We used to we had it really dialed in, and we could just go boom, boom, boom down the list and get it done. But now we are taking more time
Yeah, and at a wedding, that's not really the priority to spend that much time. We're trying to do this on a wedding day. This is outside a wedding day.
No, right, but you do though. I mean, I was just going through a big gallery, if we have the time and we want to pull just the parents aside or their best friends from 20 years ago who show how they haven't seen in forever, we'll pull them aside for a nice photo. I mean, I was just looking at a wedding of Mauricio's where he had some extra time, I think at a rehearsal dinner in Mexico. He took like 12 couples out, and not just normal photographs. He like came up with an interesting Mauricio style portrait for them. I mean, what a gift. So yeah.
Another question from Dee Lee. She says, my own family photos are so important to me, and I truly consider them a legacy, a way to keep memories forever. How do we approach families with that without sounding salesy, for a lack of better word?
That's honestly hard because you don't want to feel like a Hallmark card. I think the best way to go about it is ask a lot of questions, and they'll feel your authenticity, and they'll understand that you really want to see the family from their point of view, not from the point of view of just a photographer. It's just like a journalist. Like, a journalist can't write a story without asking a lot of questions and getting to know people. If we want to photograph someone, we've got to ask them questions and figure out what's inside, because we always want to photograph people from the inside out, not the outside in. If it's just from the outside in, then it's just shallow. But if we can photograph who they are on the inside, then that will show through their eyes, it'll show through their hands, like Victor was saying. All that is so much easier if you actually know them a little bit before the shoot.
And one more question. With everything that you went through with that like last shoot and the realization, like, what's your advice on staying present in the moment and like not getting tied up in like the distractions and just going through the motions, and like to keep grounded in that thought that we do have a gift to give to our clients, and you don't know what's going to happen?
Yeah, I will go back to understanding and having communication, or like active listening, like actually listening to people, being aware, self-awareness, and also understanding the dynamics of everybody. So the more well informed you are, the better you perform. So I think if you understand the dynamics and who they are and why these people matter in people's life, then you go already in mind, this is important, and then you prioritize always. Have a good idea of what is really important. At the end of the day, always is important. The bonding, the family, the real love. So that's what you go first. And then after that, you have time, you do more and develop more and more and more. But
yeah, we were just talking about this yesterday. This led to a huge conversation between all of us. And it's like, we need to be careful not to let our own agenda and our own wild, crazy, fearless style ideas cloud what's really happening right in front of us. Like, have those ideas, but always, like Maurice's been saying, be mindful of what's happening right in front of your face, what deserves your respect right in that moment.
And do both. Do what you love as a photographer, as an artist, and then do what the family are going to appreciate. A lot of times they will really overlap, but you've got to like feed yourself, feed your creativity. But a lot of times the photos that you're going to like taking are going to be the ones that they're going to love and care about.
And don't wait. Don't assume you'll have a chance later. And that goes for everything. Ideas, these kinds of family photos, do it when you think of it.
Yeah, thank you so much, and for logging in and being a part of this. Like, we all really appreciate it. And I really like that last little bit you had there of don't wait, because the world can change so fast, as we're seeing. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for being Daniel.
All right, before our break, Blair from World's Best Wedding Photos is offering 50% off her photo curation service. There are limited spots available. Go snag one right away. We'll post the link in the chat box. So we're going to take our break and then be back with our next speaker, Jerry Gionis.